Hey, do you like the MMOs? The RPGs? Are you a NEET? Net-juu no Susume is one of the most accurate representations of what it's like to stay home and play video games all day. And that means all the positive experiences and everything that you miss out on because of it. Hi, I'm ManMode, and I'm here to tell you all about being a degenerate.
So they get jealous and they start to whine, say get alive or whatever while I kill them in game. I kill them in game and they say go get alive. I mean, they should get alive in game.
Recovery of an MMO Junkie or Net-juu no Susume is an action, adventure, comedy, fantasy, romance, sci-fi anime. Wait, action? Sci-fi? Come on guys, are we just sticking genres like local fuckboy lists, an ass man, and a non-professional video producer on Twitter? It has some adventuring, and it is a fantasy, as it spends some time in a fantasy video game. But above everything else, this show is a solid romance. Moriko Morioka is a self-proclaimed elite NEET who quits her job to dedicate all her time to gaming. Google best MMORPG, this one looks alright, download, make a hot dude, there, we're in. After struggling with the first boss, she's aided by a fucking adorable healer, Lily, and that's how the two soon become good online friends. It's an excellent, if not a little bit romanticized portrayal of what it's like meeting and making new friends online. You'd know if you ever played an online game.
Like, my mom's such a fucking asshole. Like, PS4 sucks. Like I said, Mom, fucking PS4 sucks. I want an iPhone. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, PS4 sucks.
One of my favorite things early on is just how thoughtful and realistic the communication online is. Just little details, like when someone says something meaningful, she waits and thinks about what she's going to type, and how she sometimes just has a dumb grin on her face while having cute conversations. But this is an anime, and soon their online friendship quickly escalates from randomly meeting in a game to bumping into each other in real life. Shocker, the person who plays Lily has a penis, and he's not fat, and he's actually kinda cute, and works at the same company Morioka used to work at before she quit to pursue the degenerate lifestyle. Through that connection, they slowly find out about each other, and the center of romance escalates from in-game to having faithful encounters and bonding in person. The series also has other somewhat important characters that play a role in all this, but the focus of the show becomes about Morioka and the blonde dude finding out about each other, while it explores some actual human issues. Shit can get real in Net-juu, which took me by surprise. One of my absolute favorite things about this little show is that these characters feel like people and not just some cliche romance anime aliens who can't even human. Misunderstandings happen, like in every romance, which are resolved quickly here, because guess what? They can communicate feelings. Is something weighing on your mind? Oh, I don't know. Let me have a 5-minute monologue, overthinking insignificant details, finally get the guts to ask, only to be interrupted by someone walking in. No, how about I just ask? The battery is dead? That sucks. Let me just say it tomorrow. Wow, it's almost like humans can form words. It is partially because they're adults, as opposed to typical Japanese beta cuckboys that are the focus of these kind of stories. And I have to give them props that they do act a little more grown up. Not to say that they aren't childish, they at least have a head on their shoulders. It's not just the communication that feels genuine. Like I mentioned, it also explores the pros and cons of living this kind of lifestyle. It can be a blast starting a new game where everything is new and brimming with excitement. You can meet new people who can become some of your best friends, form new social circles. You can go all day without actually doing anything and still feel great. Still have a reason to wake up in the morning. You know that no matter what you're dealing with in the real world, your internet buddies are still going to be there for you. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, I don't know about you, but no matter how much I try to make it sound great, to me, it doesn't sound great at all. Because it is awful, and the show is not afraid to subtly expose it. It's never on the nose about it, and it is never directly said how detrimental this lifestyle is to your career, social skills, appearance, and just about every aspect of a person. It more so feels like a reference of shitty life choices. A reference that only people who have been or are there get. And man, some of the stuff hit far too close to home sometimes. I'm not the most sheltered person in the world. I like to socialize, I like to go out, keep myself clean, get my dick wet, and play better video games. But when you don't have a job and staying home on your computer is your default state, sometimes some of your own personal obligations can slip through the cracks. Yes, I have looked myself in the mirror and told myself I look like shit. I had a date or an appointment and had to basically make an HD remake of myself so I look presentable. I've completely fucked up my sleeping schedule. What, you think going to sleep at 4 AM is bad? Try 2 AM for a regular sleeping time. As a result, including no reason to check the calendar, like in Lordran, time becomes convoluted and you completely lose track. What day is it again? And the biggest problem of all, being anxious of meeting new people because of the big question. So what do you do? Although I have pretty much mastered dodging normie questions, mind your own fucking business, mouth breather. Those kinds of things weigh on your mind constantly. Moriko Morioka is a self-proclaimed elite NEET because she chose this lifestyle by quitting her job. And by that definition, I'm also an elite NEET. More like elite dipshit. Elite ManMode dipshit. Nothing great comes of living like this. Mori, while enthusiastic at first, comes to realize this throughout the show. And although I wish the show was slightly more upfront about it, because ultimately I'm afraid some dumb 16-year-old might get the wrong idea and quit school in pursuit of becoming a professional League of Legends player, or streamer, or YouTuber, I was glad that they didn't shy away from those issues. Net-juu keeps it lighthearted, and it's completely reasonable to not interpret things like I did. As I said before, it's more of a warning finger, which is also what I'm trying to get across. And honestly, I'm happy that Net-juu had a more uplifting view of it. For what it's worth, this is a very sweet show, and it might cause diabetes. The further the show got, the more it started to deviate its storytelling from in-game to real life, as a fortunate example of 3D being better than 2D. Net-juu combines both to show the downsides and upsides of both worlds, and that it is possible to combine the two. You can do both. You just can't let one affect the other, and the show agrees. You are not your online avatar. What I said could very well be just my interpretation. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, and that's just how I see it through my tainted glasses. But the implications are there, and you need to look no further than the opening. Look at it and tell me this tone doesn't suggest some sort of misery. But it's a great OP, isn't it? Maybe there's nothing to it, and I just wanted to show how great the OP is. I like the song quite a lot. Do I think this show is good? Sure, it's an enjoyable way to spend your time. Normally premises like this suck ass, and I think the fact that Net-juu doesn't give a shit about the game they're playing and instead focuses strictly on people playing it makes you invested in its characters. Morioka is a very likable character, and watching her was a blast. It's only 10 episodes long, and if anything I mentioned thus far sounds interesting, I would recommend you check it out. But honestly, the show isn't very memorable. The writing overall is solid, but there are no notable moments in the show. Nothing of big importance happens. There aren't many scenes that stand out, and I've already forgot about most of it, only a week after finishing it. Doesn't help that the animation and art in general are kinda mediocre. Nothing about its direction stands out either. The OP is okay, but the soundtrack in general, again, pretty generic anime stuff. Like, it does its job. None of the things I mentioned are offensive, but like I said, doesn't help its longevity, which is fine. Also, it's not the biggest offender of read the manga or wait for the second season ending, but it's not conclusive. It didn't necessarily piss me off, I think it's fine, but it also didn't leave me wanting more. Yep, I already lost interest. Is recovery of an MMO Junkie ManMode? Look, this is what I'll tell you. If you ask me this question 1 month from now, I'll probably say no, as I won't remember it anymore. But for now, sure. Now go watch it before I change my mind. Binge it, have a fun time, and then forget about it. Bye!